On a humid Monday morning, before the sun fully climbed over Lagos, Bisi felt a tight band around her head. She was in a packed Danfo bus on the third mainland bridge, wedged between a woman with a basket of tomatoes and a man holding a leaking paint bucket. The radio hissed, the bus rattled. Someone shouted at the conductor about change. "Where's my change?" he asked aggressively. Bisi held her forehead and told herself, "It's just stress. Lagos stress." When the bus stopped at Obalende, the ground tilted for a second. The driver's voice sounded so far away, the world blinked white, then normal again. She smiled at nobody, climbed down gently and whispered, "I'm fine." But she wasn't. Bisi was 42, a wife, a mother of 2, and the owner of a small hair salon in Surulere with 3 chairs, one broken dryer held together with a tape, a mirror that made people think they were slimmer than they were, but people love her. She had fast hands, a warm laugh, and a reputation for neat braids and gentle combing. People said, "Go to Bisi. She is the best around here." Her days were long. She woke at 4:45 a.m., boiled water on a small kerosene stove, made tea sweet enough to trick the tongue, and ate agege bread in thick slices because she felt like it gave her strength. She swept the salon floor before dawn and prayed short prayers. "God, please make today easy," while the generator coughed to life. By 9, the chairs were full. By noon, the salon smelled like coconut oil and hairspray. By evening, her back burned and her ankles swelled inside her slippers. The headaches had started months earlier, pounding at the back of her head, a ringing in her ear sometimes, like a tiny crying kettle. She blamed heat, noise, and not enough water. She told herself to sleep more. But sleep was a thin blanket in Lagos. It never fully covered her. Bisi's mother had died of a stroke when Bisi was 25. It had been sudden. One side of her face drooped, words tangled, and a fall in their kitchen. Back then, Bisi learned a new phrase: high blood pressure. People in her area called it Ifunpa Giga. She promised herself she would never ignore her body. But time passed, life got busy, bills rose like floodwater, and promises got buried under survival. On that Monday after the Danfo scare, Bisi stopped at the pharmacy kiosk by the junction. The one painted bright green with a hand-painted sign, "Check your BP here." The pharmacy assistant wrapped a cuff around Bisi's arm. The machine hummed, clamped, and released. The assistant frowned and checked again. "Auntie Bisi, your BP is 172/110, she said softly. "This is high. You need to go to the hospital." Bisi laughed like it was a joke she didn't understand. "I'm strong," she said. "Maybe I didn't sleep well." "Auntie Bisi," the lady said again, "please go to the hospital." Bisi nodded and left, but she did not go to the hospital. She had customers waiting and school fees due next week. That week, the headaches stayed. She felt dizzy once when she bent to pick a comb. Her fingers tingled. She drank ginger tea. A neighbor also gave her agbo, a bitter herbal mix in a recycled plastic bottle, saying, "This one cures everything." Bisi poured 2 cupfuls, squeezed her eyes, swallowed. It felt like drinking anger. It did nothing. On Sunday in church, during choir rehearsal, Bisi's vision blurred. Song notes on the page swam like fish. She sat down fast. She was sweat. Her chest felt heavy, not exactly pain, just a weight pulling her inward. People gathered. One of the ushers, a nurse named Funke, took her pulse and saw the fear she was hiding. "We're going to the general hospital," Nurse Funke said. "No arguments." In the hospital, the fluorescent lights made everything look too white. They took her blood pressure again. The numbers were still high. A doctor explained gently, "Hypertension means the pressure of the blood in your arteries is too high. Over time, It can damage your brain, heart, kidneys, even your eyes. Sometimes there are no signs. Sometimes you feel like this. Headache, dizziness. Bisi nodded slowly like a child learning new alphabets. She remembered her mother. She remembered her children. Dara, 14, who loved drawing. Femi, 9, who was always building things with empty cartons. She remembered the small gold necklace her husband Tunde bought her on their 10th anniversary. She thought, I am not ready to die yet. They gave her medicines. The names sounded like tongue twisters. One to relax blood vessels. One that made her use the toilet more often. They checked her blood. They told her to come back in a week to take her medicine every day at the same time. To reduce salt, to drink more water, to move her body more. Think of your arteries as water pipes, Nurse Funke said, drawing with a pen on tissue paper. If the pressure is too high, the pipe can burst. Your medicine helps the pressure go down. Your food and your stress also affect it. We'll work with you, she concluded. Nurse Funke was professional enough to recommend a dietitian who helped Bisi navigate her nutrition journey. At home that night, Bisi placed the pill pack on her bedside table and set a 6 a.m. alarm on her phone. Tunde was quiet. He held her hand. He whispered, "We will manage this. You will grow old with me." The first week was hard. The medication made her feel tired and sometimes lightheaded. She went to the toilet often, she forgot once and then panicked. She called the Nurse Funke who said, "Don't beat yourself. Take it now. Then pick a time you won't forget. Tie it to something." After brushing teeth, for example, Dara made a chart and stuck it on the wall with masking tape. Boxes for morning and night. Little stars for every dose taken. "We'll collect stars like money," Dara said. Femi set reminders on Bisi's phone and his own. "Mommy, I am your BP police," he said proudly. Food was the next mountain. Bisi loved stew with rich seasoning cubes, a sprinkle of extra salt, and fried plantain that tasted like golden joy. She loved suya on a Friday night. She loved small chops at weddings, that salt-sweet crunch that made you want more. Now she stood in her kitchen holding a spoon, learning to taste before adding salt. She switched to grilled fish, boiled plantain, more vegetables, ugu leaves, okra, garden eggs. She used less oil. She measured rice with a small cup. She learned that seasoning doesn't only come from salt, garlic, ginger, onions, crayfish. She drank water even when she didn't feel like it. When the craving hit, she took 10 breaths and waited. Sometimes she still ate the plantain. She learned not to lie about it, not to punish herself, just to move on. Movement came slowly. The first day she tried to walk around the National Stadium, she felt shy. Everyone seemed faster, thinner, more serious. A woman about her age, Kafayat, smiled and said, "Let's go together." They walked. They talked about children, husbands, rent, the price of tomatoes. They sweated. Bisi's heart beat strong, but not wild. On busy days when she couldn't leave the salon, she walked in place for 5 minutes between customers, rolled her shoulders, stretched her neck, and breathed in counts of 4. Work changed too. She started saying no sometimes. The Bisi of before never said no. She squeezed extra customers until midnight, then went home aching. Now she closed by 8, even if someone begged. She put a small sign on the wall. "Please be kind. Your stylist is human." People laughed when they read it, but they also softened. The salon felt lighter. Twice a week, Bisi wrote down her numbers. Nurse Funke helped her get a simple home blood pressure monitor from a trusted pharmacy. Nothing fancy, just a cuff and a digital screen. Bisi washed her hands, sat, kept her feet flat, rested her arm on the table and pressed start. She wrote the date, time, and the numbers in a small yellow notebook. In 2 weeks, the reading started to drop. From 168 over 102 to 154 over 96 to 142/90. One quiet morning, it read 136/86. She stared at the screen as if it were a birthday cake. "We're getting there," she whispered. But here comes Bisi's backslide. A cousin's wedding in Ikorodu. Music so loud the ground vibrated. Plates that never ended. Puff puff, samosa, spring rolls, jollof with a salt fresh kick, suya, soda, cake. Bisi told herself, just today. She danced. She ate. She forgot her evening dose. On Sunday morning, the number was 160/98. Fear crawled up her back. She breathed, called Nurse Funk, and explained. "It happens," Funk said. "We don't throw away the whole pot of soup because of too much pepper. We adjust. Take your medicine now. Drink water. Walk later. Today, we start again." Bisi learned that health is not a straight road. It bends, it bumps, it asks for patience. She learned to forgive herself and to try again and again. Her family learned with her. Tunde started buying fish instead of turkey. He soaked and boiled stockfish longer to remove some saltiness. He prepares their stew with fresh tomatoes instead of sachet tomatoes. He teased her gently. "See your life, Madam No Salt." They laughed. Their children turned it into a game at the supermarket, checking labels, hunting for foods with lower sodium. Femi would announce in a loud voice, "This one has too much salt," and people would turn to look at them, and Bisi would shake her head, smiling. Neighbors watched and asked questions. "How did you reduce your blood pressure? Which medicine is working? Can I check mine?" One Saturday, Bisi brought the home monitor to the salon. "Free BP checks today," she said. She checked the BP of young and old men who drove Okada, women who sold pepper, a tailor from the next street. People gasped at the numbers. Some cried quietly. Bisi called Nurse Funke on speaker, and Funke explained what to do next. Go to the clinic, don't ignore it, take your medicine, watch your salt, move your body. By evening, a WhatsApp group was born. They called it Pressure No Day Show for Face. For reminders, encouragement, sharing of small food recipes, jokes, and prayers. When someone posted a high reading, others would reply, "We're with you." Take your dose, avoid unhealthy foods, and breathe. On the anniversary of her mother's passing, Bisi took flowers to the small graveyard at the Anglican church in her hometown. She stood under a tree and spoke in a low voice. "Mommy, I am trying. I am listening to my body now. I am fighting and winning the battle." The wind lifted the leaves. A bird hopped near her feet. She cried soft and long, wiping her face with the corner of her wrapper. Months rolled by. The headaches became less. The swelling in her ankles reduced. The heavy feeling in her chest faded. Not every day was perfect. Sometimes her shop generator refused to start and her heart raced. Sometimes traffic kept her late and she ate dinner too close to midnight. Sometimes she missed the taste of old salty stew and felt angry at the discipline her life now demanded. But most days, she felt steady. At her 6-month clinic check, the nurse smiled at the numbers. 128 over 82. The doctor listened to her heart and said, "You're doing well. Keep going." They adjusted her medicine slightly. They asked about her stress and told her not to joke with her eating habit because it is key to her overall recovery. They told her again, "This is a long journey. You are not only a patient today, you are a person with a life. Protect that life." On the bus home, Bisi looked out at Lagos, the yellow buses, the hawkers weaving through traffic with bottled water and gala, the people fighting for no reason, the sky big and blue, and greedy for clouds. She thought about all the invisible battles carried in this city. She thought about the women in her salon, the men at the junction, the younger people who believed high blood pressure was only for the old. She decided to keep talking. She decided to keep checking. She decided to keep choosing herself. That night, after dinner of fish pepper soup with more herbs than salt, she sat with Dara and Femi on the floor. They spread out the little yellow notebook. Star stickers covered the months. "Mommy, you're a champion," Femi said. Dara leaned her head on Bisi's shoulder. The generator hummed like a faraway drum. Somewhere outside, someone laughed. Somewhere farther, Danfo horns blasted. Bisi picked up her phone and set tomorrow's alarm. She wrote in the corner of a page, in neat letters, "I'm not fighting alone. I'm living, slow and steady. One breath, one pill, one walk, one healthy food choice at a time." She closed the book. She closed her eyes. And for the first night in a long time, she slept like someone who believed she would see the morning.